In the top stories, ambassadors virtually present credentials to Governor General. Health Minister in St. Lucia addresses recent medical investigations, and continuous volcano eruption disrupts life in Guatemala. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Thursday, the 22nd of April. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, the following is a press release from Government House. On Wednesday, 21st of April, 2021, His Excellency the Governor General, Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton, GCMG CVO QCJP LLD, conducted two ceremonies for the presentation of credentials by ambassadors to the Federation. These ceremonies were virtual, and the new ambassadors were at their respective embassies overseas. The first ceremony was in respect of His Excellency Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary Mr. Jose Manuel del Calelgo Romualdez, non-resident ambassador of the Republic of the Philippines to St. Kitts and Nevis. The ambassador presented his letter of credence signed by President Rodrigo Rua Duterte and the letter of recall of his predecessor. The Governor General and the ambassador engaged in discussions with respect to the areas of cooperation between the Republic of the Philippines and St. Kitts and Nevis. The Governor General thanked the government of the Philippines for their generous offer of nurses for our health sector and praised their professionalism. The Governor General also extended the condolences of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to the people of the Philippines on the recent passing of Nurse Josephine Arceo, who had rendered invaluable service to the Federation at the maternity ward of the Joseph N. France General Hospital. The second ceremony was for the presentation of letters of credence to His Excellency by Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary Mr. In-ho Lee, non-resident ambassador of the Republic of Korea, South Korea, to St. Kitts and Nevis. The Governor General, after welcoming the ambassador, recalled that in his earlier service as Attorney General, he had been afforded the opportunity to visit South Korea and on one occasion led the delegation to the inauguration of a former president. The discussion reflected on ongoing projects being pursued by both countries, and the ambassador pledged to seek and expand the level of cooperation between the two countries. The ceremonies ended with the ambassadors indicating that they looked forward to visiting St. Kitts and Nevis so that they could meet His Excellency in person. In other news, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Marine Resources is currently seeking to address concerns of land availability in St. Kitts with aims to provide an adequate amount of land to crop and livestock farmers. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Ron Dublin Collins, made this statement on Tuesday night's edition of Leadership Matters, where he also spoke about the purpose of the Agricultural Land Rental Agreement.
The ministry has been reviewing and is working to strengthen the conditions laid out in our agricultural rental land arrangements to ensure that agricultural land is being used for its intended purpose and the land is not inactive, or in terms of development, it is not there and not involved in the contribution to the agricultural sector.
He explained that the ministry is paying close attention to those persons who have not been making payments towards their land leases and those who are simply not making use of the lands, which he says is being described as lazy land. He said if the land is not being used, this can lead to the process of redistribution. The Permanent Secretary also made it clear that idle land must be used for agricultural development and highlighted other factors that may possibly influence a farmer's decision to abandon the land.
We have been looking seriously at how we manage the land. And I mentioned earlier, we've coined the term lazy land, that all land for agriculture must be under production. Persons cannot hold the land ransom, hostage. They cannot hold the land hostage. And we have been encouraging farmers in production. As we've gone to the forest area, persons have returned to the area. There have been various reasons. We're not out there saying, listen, you're not using the land, let's take it away. Let us see what is happening that would have caused the farmer to stop their work on the land. Sometimes it had to do with the overwhelming challenge of pests like monkeys and pigs that cause individuals to abort their efforts and so on, or some other challenge that we have assisted with.
As it pertains to new farmers, he said they'll be given land wherever it is available, although it may not always be conveniently located in the same village where the farmer lives. He then spoke in detail about the land application process, stating, quote, "The individual completes a form. They make a request via that form and advise about what it is they are seeking to do, and then the land unit will go out and try to identify an area that can be utilized," end quote. Mr. Collins said there have been many instances of illegal disputes between individual farmers whose lands are in close proximity. Some farmers have even sought to occupy lands that were not designated for agricultural purposes, and others were asked to relocate due to health purposes. He said that these are just a few of several challenges that the ministry faces, but Collins assured that the necessary steps will be undertaken to rectify these issues. The Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, or IECA, will be working closely with the Ministry and the Department of Agriculture in St. Kitts and Nevis to increase water efficiency for farmers. Sharon Jones, technical specialist with IECA, spoke about a new development project on Tuesday's edition of Leadership Matters. She explained that it is designed to help the seasonal planting of crops. The seasonal planting of crops is becoming more challenging given the increasingly unpredictable weather conditions with less rainfall as a result of climate change.
Some farmers at the very beginning in March, April, had a very difficult time to get started because they did not have access to water. And also there was the rainy season, as you will remember, started quite late last year. So the July, August was very dry. And then the rains really came towards October, November, December, and then right into the beginning of this year. So the predictiveness of rainfall is not as it was. There is some variability throughout the years. And what this does to farmers is, as you know, is that they are not able to now foresee, and they now can't go into production as much as they would like to.
When implemented, the project will boost farmers' resiliency in water management by facilitating greater water storage and using it more efficiently. Work is continuing on the project design and will be released later this year. Regionally, St. Lucia's leading medical institutions have been making the headlines of late for all the wrong reasons. From a botched surgery to a suspicious death in care, there are increasing calls for these matters to be addressed with greater transparency. More in this report.
A wrongful leg amputation at the Owen King European Union Hospital, a suspected suicide at the Victoria Respiratory Hospital, and a still unfinished St. Jude Hospital embroiled in political controversy. The island's three leading healthcare facilities all under heavy public scrutiny as St. Lucia continues to stare down the global health crisis.
Where are we as far as getting some concrete timeline, some concrete information as to when the South and St. Lucia will finally get a hospital?
You see, we were supposed to get this hospital prior to now. But because of COVID, we cannot give any timelines. You have seen that timelines do not work. You understand? So why ask for timelines?
Is it the timelines that don't work, or is it other factors?
The timelines don't work because you see, life is dynamic, especially here. And with COVID, timelines will not work.
Despite her status as Minister for Health, Senator Mary Isaac says she is far removed from the ongoing construction works being done at the island's main southern hospital. The opposition, St. Lucia Labour Party's request of a tour of the construction site was met with conditions by the Economic Development Minister, Guy Joseph, who Isaac says has responsibility for the project. The Minister for Health was grilled by reporters on the investigation into the matter of the botched leg surgery that has gripped the nation and raised questions and concerns over the quality of health care at one of the island's main medical facilities, OKEU.
The investigation has not ended, so we are waiting for the reports from that investigation to decide what has to be done.
Can you confirm whether or not anyone involved in that operation is either still on the job or have been sent on any sort of administrative leave?
Well, that is going to be determined by the investigation. You do not just send somebody on administrative leave without the necessary recommendation being made, especially, in a case where you are looking at professional, doctors and people in the public service.
Isaac was also questioned about the shocking suspected suicide at Victoria Respiratory Hospital.
They are investigating the situation, and depending on what turns up in the investigation, then they will be told, or there will be certain recommended measures, because we really do not know how that happened. I do not know. So I have to wait for a report and for recommendations in order for me to know what is going to be done from here on.
Some quarters have condemned the Ministry of Health for not providing timely public information on matters within the health field. However, the Minister for Health is defending the system, stating that through a protocol-governed regime, the well-being of patients and consultation with family of patients remain the first priority of health officials. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.
Internationally, Guatemala's Pacayo volcano has been erupting for more than 2 months now. Ash plumes have caused flight cancellations, and a lava flow has destroyed crops and sparked wildfires. Al Jazeera's Manuel Rapallo reports.
Plumes of ash and a river of molten rock from Guatemala's Pacaya volcano now stretches for more than 3.5 kilometers. It's been erupting for more than 2 months.
The activity has increased since the 5th of February. It increased with strong explosions with an abundance of ash that led to the closure of the Aurora International Airport for 2 days due to the amount of ash.
Pacaya is one of Guatemala's most active volcanoes, but the lava flow today is the largest produced by this volcano since 1961, and there are fears about where it's heading.
Two communities are constantly monitoring as a result of the risk created by the lava flow. The communities of Patrocinio and San Jose Rodeo, which are next in line with the lava flow, we are talking about around 1,900 people that we are approaching in these communities.
70-year-old Adolfo Fajardo says he remembers the eruptions of 1961, but says this one is far more violent. He's worried he'll lose his home if the eruptions don't end soon.
The truth is that the lava has invaded grand extensions of land, destroying coffee plants, forests of trees, pastures, and it's close to the community of El Patrocinio.
Experts monitoring the volcano say the lava flow is moving about 30 meters per day, but concerns are growing among local residents who have been asked to prepare for a possible evacuation.
The people already want to leave, but don't have a place to go. That is our greatest worry as authorities from the community.
The lava flow produced by Guatemala's Pacaya volcano has attracted curious tourists to the region. But scientists say that volcanic activity could change at any moment and warn of the possibility of more explosive eruptions and ash falls. Manuel Rapallo, Al Jazeera.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are cloudy with scattered showers. Winds are moderate breeze of 14 miles per hour from the east. The temperature is 29 degrees Celsius or 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are moderate with waves of 5 to 7 feet. Small craft operators should continue to exercise caution. The weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis says today will be partly cloudy to cloudy with a 60% or a moderate chance of showers. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 6:29 p.m., sunrise tomorrow at 5:49 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.